All right, so let's get started. In this video, I'm going to be covering for you some of the fundamentals that are essential to understand with your guitar before you even learn your first chord. We're going to be covering the anatomy of the guitar, which is essentially the different terminology of the components that make up your guitar, so that while we move more forward into the course and we start throwing vocabulary at you, you could follow along. There's also some numbers and letters associated with our fingers that are important for you to know. Again, so that when we start directing you on where to put your fingers to create chords, you can also follow along with that as well. So let's get into it. All right, so I have an acoustic guitar for you here. We obviously also have electric guitar, which uses amplifiers to produce their sound. The electric and acoustic have a lot of very similar components, but obviously they have some differentiating components as well. If you join us in our full course, we get a little bit more in depth into all of the different components that make up an electric guitar. For this video, we're just going to be sticking with the acoustic guitar. We feel it's a great way to get started with learning. So here we are with our acoustic guitar. There is no feet, but we do consider this part of the guitar the body. Specifically, this is the top of the body and the back of the body. Everything above the body from here to here is considered our neck. And then this top section is considered the head or the headstock. We have 6 little widgets here that we're going to have many different names for. One of those just simply being tuners, tuner knobs, machine knobs. You'll hear a lot of different names for these, but this is where we actually change the pitch of our strings by loosening or tightening our strings. Moving down, this white piece here is called our nut, and this is the piece that our strings lay into. There are some tricks to help our strings lay more nicely into the nut by using graphite, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Below here we have, again, our neck, but the front of the neck predominantly is called the fretboard because it is made up of all of these different components through here, which are called frets. And the little piece of metal between the frets is called, you guessed it, a fret bar. In some of these frets, you'll notice there are designs. Every guitar has these designs in the same frets, and these are called position markers that position us at 3, 5, 7, 9, and 12th fret, and it continues down from there. But they're all going to be found on the same fret on every guitar. As we move down, we have the sound hole, which is obviously on an acoustic guitar where our sound projects from. We have the sound rosette. Coming down here, we actually have our bridge is this whole getup down here. The white piece is going to be called our saddle, and this is where our strings lay on top of in order to create that pitch. Some guitars have what's considered bridge pins, which are those little pins down here at the bottom. My guitar, which is the make of a breedlove, the string actually lays right down inside of the bridge itself. So it actually does not even have bridge pins, but they're actually down there. As you can see, my strings, when stringing up my guitar, actually come in the bottom of the bridge. So that's the basics of our anatomy of our acoustic guitar. All right, now that might have seemed like a lot of vocabulary to throw at you all at once. I totally understand. So here at JamFast, we actually got a few different ways for you to memorize all of this information that we're going to be supplying for you over the next, hopefully, many months. We've actually created here our own guitar guide. I'm going to throw up the finished version for you over here so you can check that out. But when you opt into our full course, we actually lead you through a fill-in-the-blank version of this so that you can have a whole new way of memorizing all of this information. As you can see, it doesn't just cover the anatomy of the guitar, but your basic fundamentals of music theory, all of your beginning chords, and all of those essentials that are important for you to know when moving forward in your guitar learning journey. Now we do have that fill in the blank version, like posted here, but if you'd like to actually even create your own guitar guide, here's an example of one that we've just started with one of our students where they get to fill in their own information and we actually walk you through how to make your own poster board into your very own guitar guide. Alright, so next important piece of information is how do we talk about our fingers when playing guitar? And what I mean by that is when I first describe to you our very first chord in this course, the A chord, you're going to be putting specific fingers on specific strings. Now there are numbers and letters associated to all of our fingers in our strings, so to help us better communicate on how to create those chords. So we're going to start with our picking or strumming hand. For a right-handed player, it's going to be your right hand like me. If you're a left hand, it's going to be your left hand is going to be your picking or strumming hand. We notate this hand, our strumming or picking hand, by numbers. Number 1 finger is our index finger. Number 2 finger is our middle finger. Our ring finger is number 3, and our pinky is going to be number 4. Our thumb is often just considered as T if you're reading music. Now, when we get into finger-style finger picking, later down into the actual course, with our left hand, which is considered our fretting hand, we actually have letters that are associated with this. And this comes from the Spaniards that brought fingerstyle over to us, and the Spanish words associated for these digits. So P is our thumb, I is our index finger, M is our middle finger, and A is our ring finger. Upon occasion on advanced finger picking patterns, you will see our pinky labeled as E or C. Alright, so the next essential element of learning guitar is to understand our strings have numbers, so that when we're telling you to put a specific finger on a specific string, you know where to go. So we have 6 strings here, appropriately numbered 1 through 6. Our number 1 string is actually the furthest away from our face, which is our highest pitch and thinnest string. That's our number 1. And then it counts up towards us. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that closest string to our face, the thickest string, is going to be number 6, which is our low E. Alright, so that's going to cover the basic components of the anatomy of the guitar, how to number our fingers and the string numbers. Very important to know before you even start making sound with your guitar. But in the next video, we're going to get into actually tuning your instrument up and getting ready to jam.